Who's everybody else here for today?
Good morning, I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News Now, coming to you from our digital desk. We're going to show you a live picture here in Elyria Municipal Court for the initial appearance of what is really turning out to be a bizarre and unfortunately a deadly crime. This all played out Tuesday evening in Elyria and Elyria Township, and in fact, there were 3 separate shootings, 2 in Amherst, 1 in Elyria Township, where people who were on motorcycles were being shot at. In the case in Elyria Township, it took the life of Trey Suki. He was on his motorcycle. We have surveillance video of this. We warn you, this is a little graphic. You're going to see a couple of gray cars at the top of your screen, and the motorcycle was next to the second gray car when Suki was shot and killed. Several people rush out into the street to try and help him, but unfortunately he did not survive. Again, the other 2 incidents in Amherst are similar, is all police will say. They will not say yet that they are connected, but just saying that they are similar. In one case, the motorcycle itself got shot, the rider did not. When it all was said and done, when police were investigating, some incredible work done very early, it led to the arrest of this man, Isaiah McCooch. Deputies with the Lorain County Sheriff's Department saying yesterday that McCooch may have been suffering from mental illness or an episode. They claim that he told investigators that he was being chased by a motorcycle gang. When you look into McCooch's past, there's really not a lot there. One drug charge from back in 2006. So this was not somebody that has been in and out of the system really at all. As we wait for this to start, we'll make sure that you don't miss any of this. We've already seen some of Trey Suki's motorcycle club members in attendance here in the courtroom. 4 or 5 of them are there to support their brother, although obviously this is a deadly case. McCooch going to be charged with aggravated murder in this initial appearance. This will not last very long. It will be a quick reading of the charges. We understand the prosecutor is even going to be there via video. McCooch obviously will be in video too, as you can see the screen there. As we wait for this, and we will make sure you don't miss a single second, we're going to play our story that ran yesterday from our Winnie Dortch, really getting into the details of the actual incident, and then the suspect himself, Isaiah McCooch. As we watch this, I will be keeping an eye on the live feed from Elyria Municipal Court when we get the all rise, and it looks like the judge is there, so let's stick with this.
Remainder of our jail arrests. So, we're going to get started. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. I'm Joel.
Case number 2023 CRA 03157, State of Ohio, which is Isaiah McCooch. Defendant was charged with aggravated murder, felony 1, and discharge of a firearm in prohibited premises, felony 1.
Good morning, Mr. McCooch.
Good morning.
You have 2 charges. These are from October the 24th, 2023. First charge is aggravated murder under Revised Code 2903.01. That's a first-degree felony. It's punishable by up to life in prison, potential death penalty, and $20,000 fine. Next charge is discharge of firearms in prohibited premises under Revised Code 2923.162. That's also a first-degree felony. It's punishable by up to 11 years in prison, $20,000 fine. I'm going to explain your rights to you. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, the court may appoint one for you. You have the right to a reasonable continuance to obtain an attorney. You have the right to have a reasonable bond set. You have the right not to make any statements today, but if you do make any statements, they can be used against you later. This is all being video recorded. Prosecutor's on this call with us, and he can hear everything both of us are saying. You have the right to a trial, either before a judge or before a jury. No plea will be taken in this case today because these charges are felonies. Instead, it will be set for a preliminary hearing. At that hearing, the state will have the opportunity to present evidence. The state will try to prove that there's probable cause to believe two things. Number one, these offenses were committed. Number two, you're the person that committed them. If the state meets its burden of proof, this case will be transferred to the Lorain County Court of Common Pleas for presentation to a grand jury. And that preliminary hearing will be set within the next 10 days. Will you be hiring an attorney or requesting a court-appointed attorney?
Court-appointed.
Do you have a job, Mr. McCooch?
No, I do not.
When's the last time you worked?
Like 2 weeks ago, I was just, a truck driver.
All right, did you fill out the application for a court-appointed attorney?
No. Oh, yes, I did, yeah.
All right, I'll take a look at it and make a determination about whether you qualify. I'm going to ask the prosecutor to tell us the allegations. Mr. Kishman.
Thank you, Your Honor. October the 24th, 2023, between the hours of 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. roughly, there were 3 separate incidents involving the defendant in the use of a firearm, which were reported to police. The first incident took place around 5 p.m. when the defendant pulled up alongside a couple. This was on Levitt Road, here at the 90 intersection, pulled out a firearm, pointed it at a couple that was seated in their car. This incident was captured on dash cam video, later reported to the Amherst police. Subsequently, around 6 p.m., 911 received a second call involving the defendant. Michael Vasco reported that a gray Honda Accord, later determined to be driven by the defendant, had just fired shots at him on his motorcycle. 2 of the shots struck the motorcycle. He was not hit, however. And then lastly, around 6:11 p.m., multiple calls were received by 911 reporting a shooting on Lake Avenue in Elmerson Court. Witnesses reported seeing the same Honda Accord, again, later determined to be driven by the defendant, leaving the area. This was captured on a Ring doorbell cam. This time, the victim was struck 5 times. Trey Suki was his name. CPR was administered by bystanders before EMS arrived. However, he was later pronounced dead. The license plate information was used to determine the vehicle belonged to the defendant, as well as his address. Police took him into custody, obtained a warrant for the vehicle. Upon execution of the warrant, a firearm was located inside of the vehicle, as well as a bullet hole showing the trajectory, indicating that he shot fired from the outside or from inside of the vehicle in the B pillar of the car. The defendant was arrested, Mirandized. He acknowledged having driven the vehicle shortly before the incident, did not have any information provided to the police regarding the shooting itself, however.
What about prior offenses by Mr. McCooch? Mr. Kishman.
Aside from the speeding ticket, Judge, nothing that the state is aware of.
What's your position with respect to bond?
Judge, I would request that bond in excess of $1 million on each of the 2 counts. No firearms, no weapons provisions, no contact with the victims or any of the families.
All right, so Mr. McCooch, I'm setting bond on each of these first-degree felonies in amount of $1 million. As a condition of your bond, if you do post bond, you'll have to obtain a mental health evaluation, follow all recommendations of treatment at your own expense, no weapons in your possession at any time. Also, if you do post bond, you'll have to be fitted with a GPS monitor prior to your release from jail. We have an alleged victim that needs to speak. All right, Mr. McCooch, I'm going to allow an alleged victim to speak with respect to this issue of bond. State your name, please.
My name is John Novak.
Mr. Novak, what do you need? Well, first of all, what's your relationship with with the alleged victim in this case?
He's my brother. I represent his family. His father, one of my best friends ever. No bond. I mean, there's enough repeated things going on right now over people getting out and going back and doing the same thing, or flight risk, taking off. It should be a hate crime. He had said he was after bikers, and that's what he was going at. He knew what he was doing. There's no insanity here. He cannot be saying that he was having an episode, or he knew what he was doing. This was planned in his head. Time in between each crime that he was doing. Trey Suki had the biggest, warmest, softest, lovingest heart in this world. Raised right, all that he wanted to do was right. He moved out of Detroit to Lorain County to be away from this type of thing, so he could start a new life, being around better people, being in a less crime area. All that he did was right. He rode with us, which the Worthless Nuts, we are a nonprofit motorcycle association. We do nothing but good for the community, and that's all Trey was about. It's all he wanted to do. It warmed his heart to do for others without him receiving anything for it. Very unselfish man, very warm man. And if I am correct, I don't know 100%, but at least one of the shots were even in Trey's back. That no defense, literally killing a defenseless human. I ask for no bond at this time. Please.
All right, thank you. All right, certainly my empathy for your loss. Thank you. You can have a seat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Kishman? All right. As I indicated, $1 million on each of these first-degree felonies, mental health evaluation, no weapons in your possession at any time. You'll need to be fitted with a GPS monitor if you do post bond. All right, thank you, Mr. McCooch.
Thank you, sir.
Dan DeRose with 19 News. As we see the initial appearance of Isaiah McCooch, the individual who, according to prosecutors, is not only responsible for the shooting death of Trey Suki. He was on his motorcycle. That is this surveillance video. It happens quickly. You'll see a first gray car, and then you'll see the gray Honda Accord, and you'll see the motorcycle is next to that Accord, and the shots were fired, according to the prosecutors, from the Accord at Trey Suki. You heard from one of his motorcycle club brothers asking for no bond. The judge empathized with his loss, but ultimately gave him $1 million on each of his felony charges. He's facing 2 at this point. More than likely that will be increased as this heads to a grand jury in Lorain County. Those 2 charges, aggravated murder, that's a felony in the first degree, and then discharge of a firearm in a prohibited area. That's basically firing a gun within the city limits, on the street, near homes, near schools is another prohibited area. So that's also a felony. The judge giving him $1 million on each one. That's a $2 million bond. And if he were able to post that, he would still have to go through a psychological evaluation before he gets out, be put on GPS, and have no contact with the victim or his family. And you heard this is the first sort of confirmation, and this is from the prosecutor there in court, that these 3 incidents are now tied together. According to the prosecutor, there were 3 separate incidents in which McCooch pulled a firearm. You can see the 2 in Amherst. One, he pulled out a gun and pointed it at a couple in another car. The second incident, he pulled the gun and shot at a motorcycle rider. That rider was not hit. His motorcycle was hit twice. He called police. And then the third incident in Elyria Township, when unfortunately Trey Suki was shot on his motorcycle. We did hear from investigators from the Lorain County Sheriff's Department that they claim that McCooch was going through a mental situation, and that he indicated to them when in questioning that he claimed a motorcycle gang was after him. And that's why he shot at 2 separate motorcyclists as they were riding. Again, this was a really intense situation Tuesday evening as this all played out. You had these 3 incidents, 2 where shots were fired, 1 where an individual was actually hit and killed. And the fact that they were able to track down McCooch so quickly is a testament to the investigators, the police, the county sheriff's department there in Lorain to get this man off the street and behind bars so that he could face his charges. We're going to wrap this up. We will have complete coverage on this incident, as well as, of course, all eyes in the nation are on Maine. The mass shooting in 2 locations there from last night. We believe the number of dead is still at 16. That number is fluctuating depending on who's doing the reporting, where these confirmations are coming from. But obviously a very serious situation there with a shooter still on the loose in Maine. No arrests in that situation. There will be a live news conference at 10:30 on the Maine situation. We will have that on our Facebook page, as well as updates in our 11 o'clock and our noon news. Until then, I'm Dan DeRose with 19.